1. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, do you know what the greatest wealth transfer the world has ever seen was? It's quite simple. The biggest and most successful wealth transfer the world has ever seen was through equity and ownership of private property and commerce. That is to say, because of what we told you coming from the top of my speech, businesses, especially those owned by the rich, of which a lot of the urban poor and middle class work and operate in, is exactly what serves as the social and capitalist lubricant to be able to allow them a capacity to be able to earn and be able to uplift themselves towards the upper and next socio-economic class. We think that the road to hell is paved with good intention, and contrary to popular belief, things can get worse. At best, side government is bold and consistent with their claims, which are the motivation to be able to hold the rich accountable and the urgency to be able to facilitate the wealth transfer. The question we then have, which we think is valid, is this something that we should do, meaning the principled justification? And second, is this going to be effective, as they say, the practical or pragmatic question? The answer to both is no. Because, let's take a look at the motion. My partner was correct to call out that the motion, as we read it, is this House would implement a full inheritance tax on all estates. The motion isn't proportional or ladderized tax, nor is the motion for the rich and middle class only. I don't mean to be a dick or anything, but the syntax of how the English language works unlocks the harms that we said on the urban poor as well as the middle classes in our attempt to be able to take side proposition at their best if we remove their upside on the rich and our downside on the poor, of which still apply largely to the middle class, those who are poor and desperate to get caught in this ability to be able to get out of their day-to-day subsistence. There are a couple of reasons why our side takes this debate. Very simple. As an average reasonable person, the metric that you should use is to be able to question what delta or solvency they really have on their side. Because my POI to government whip, I think, is quite important. I question the difference between their policy, which they claim to be ladderized in a response to be able to give competing analysis to our harms. And at the same time, I said, my friend, that is status quo. Because in status quo, again, as an average reasonable person, we have proportional and equitable taxation for the rich, for corporations, and for estates, of which this debate happens into. And the spoiler here is that there's not much difference that their side really claims with status quo, and in terms of burden fulfillment and debating the spirit of the motion isn't as successful. Why does our side do this better? A couple of reasons. Number one, depth of argumentation and standing middle analysis and standing contribution. Positive material, basically. Jaron's extension was not responded to yet. Number two, and I really mean this, right? Level of engagement and competing analysis. Either direct engagement from rebuttal or cross-diagonal engagement from POI, of which there were attempts, but at best, attempt to symmetricize our harm. That's valid, but it does not prove the tipping point of that issue on our side, of which we tell you that basically this is something that the state shouldn't do because it's unjust, and even if they were to do it, leads to a host of outcomes we told you coming from the top of my speech and coming from my partners. We are very proud to stand on side negative. We beg the motion to fall. Thank you.
Thank you, Opposition.